Well, hi there. This is the 4th of July, and I decided to just simply let this light be this light. Uh, this is kind of like natural light coming in, and it's not unpleasant, but it is not a sunny day. And I'm sure everyone in Seattle has noticed that it's not a sunny day. Okay, so let's see, what am I up to? I thought I would just keep going. I kind of finally found my direction. It's slow and it's kind of easy going, and so I'm not in a big hurry to, I don't know, get anywhere because, and I'll kind of show in this video why. Um, the schedule of difference situation, basically, or my approach to things, is because of inevitabilities. We have done something, which is that now we have to manage our affairs accordingly. It's sort of like one way or another, we're going to have to prepare for the current situation with climate change from wherever we decide we're going to prepare for it. And from there forward, keep kind of doing that. So this is the 4th of July, and this is my map of North America. We could call it the schedule of difference map of North America. Uh, let's see, I couldn't find a sumi brush. I was going to do some sumi ink stuff, but could not find a sumi brush. Darn. Anyhow, our schedule of difference North American map. So, anyway, it's the 4th of July. And the 4th of July is a celebration of colonies, British colonies that were kind of like in this area here. Oh, about 250 years ago. Well, longer than that. The colonies existed for a long time. But they were kind of like in here, more or less. And then they liberated themselves from Britain and became states and spread across this entire continent. And I guess you could say Canada, who still has a um, connection to Britain. They have a much closer connection than we do to Britain. They're still, I don't know what that connection is, but it's a connection. Anyway, and then of course Mexico down here, which once went all the way up to here, but got chased away by our liberated colonists became settlers and chased the Spaniards out of the Californias, and well, that's where we are now, more or less. But my motif or my topic for the day is the uh, geography and climate we're all familiar with, what we remember. And I guess what interests me is this land area between here and here, Hudson Bay and the Great Lakes. This is all permafrost in this area, more or less kind of going across here. These are lakes, lots and lots of lakes, and rivers connecting these lakes. And the land that's between these lakes is permafrost. Okay, so what that means is that it's going to turn to mud, and there's really no telling how the water is going to move around. But let's just assume that this area between here and here is going to narrow somewhat, and that this we will call the Great Lakes have now kind of become the Great Lake. So I don't know when the Great Lake will make an appearance, but let's see. I had kind of come up with a rough drawing of this. Here. This is not a very good drawing, but that's okay. This is what we may see as the Great Lake. Okay, so that's the Great Lake. And in the Great Lake, in the center of the Great Lake, is the station. We'll just call it the station. This communicates to the Moon Mars project, right? Maybe? Okay. That's Morse code, by the way. The Great Lake is huge. Okay, the station is obviously quite large. And it has little things kind of going on like this. And then what happens is we have, as you can see, kind of going down this way, we have the Great Plains, more or less. And then along, we have other lakes, which will become bigger, right? Round about here, kind of going up like this. Round about here, and then running up this direction, right? And if this land area does actually become narrow, then Hudson Bay would be closer, kind of going like that, maybe. And then around and up like that. And then out off into the distance, way up here, would be the mud. We could just call it the mud. And every year is a little different because of how the water from what amounted to all of these lakes that are now kind of sliding around with little rivers and all of that. It's all coming down through here, through here, through here, through here. But what's happening is that we have mountain ranges. I guess the mountain ranges kind of run along here. That, and then it appears that there's another mountain range kind of running into here. Kind of like that, right? This will be a rough drawing, but later it'll be fun to have better drawings, right? We all like better drawings. Okay. And this ongoing adaptation to what's going on around the Great Lake will be interesting. And so this term, actual logistics, right? I find it really interesting. It's like preparing for climate change just simply is discussing things like this. It's sort of like, well, this might be what happens, you know, dub-de-dub-de-dub-de-dub. Okay. I would think this would be an interesting, we'll consider this an interesting 4th of July conversation, right? Okay, this is an interesting 4th of July conversation. And this is the same guy I had in the last video. This is all he really does. This is what he does. He looks at his mobile device. Okay. And where is our look device guy? Looking at the mobile device today, and this was our phone story character, right? Hi. Okay, so I didn't go to the trouble of finding a QR code today for permafrost, or I guess permafrost would be the subject of the day. Because really, you have to see that basically through here, what the heck is going to happen when that permafrost just turns to mud? We know that basically there's going to be a lot of methane gas going up into the atmosphere. That will be really strange. But I think that, and the Mississippi comes out of here sometime. Where does it come out of the Great Lakes? Does it come up? Oh, it comes up way up here. And then it kind of wanders off. The Mississippi will be much wider. There's some other famous rivers that do things like that. Okay. So we've got this, the mud. The mud is everywhere. So what this guy is coming in to the station in his drone. Okay, so he's at the helm of his drone, right? Coming in, you know, he's far away actually. Here he is. And he's one of the characters kind of from the story, I guess. This is all an evolution from the crazy story I made up. I made up this crazy story like a long time ago. based on Stupid Future Incorporated, phones, and a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, Stupid Future Incorporated is kind of like taking over the Supreme Court. Aye. And this is an indication of a QR code that will take you to permafrost. And way up here is Hudson Bay, right? Hudson Bay. Now you can see that these, because there's all kinds of areas in the world, like the area that's represented by Central America, for instance. What's going to happen to Central America? Is it going to just kind of disappear underwater? And this is the narrow area. Is this the narrow area? Yeah, you have to realize, I found a lake in here, and I forgot the name of it. It's right kind of in the middle of here. So let's pretend that it got bigger. All the other little lakes got bigger. And all these rivers and mud and all the rest of it, they're just doing things kind of like that. And this is Hudson Bay. And this is the Great Lake, which is what you get for making America greater, right? You get the Great Lake. You know, the Great Lake's fine. It's going to be on fire. It's the end of days. No. No. It's Satan that's going to live in the station. That's what's going to be in the Satan. The Satan right there. No. Let's not pander to that kind of thing. Anyway, so this kind of goes like that. And so, how to tell the difference between water and not water in our lovely map. I'm going to do this little trick where you just kind of add a reflection around the edge. Okay, so that will help. Okay. Anyway, so where was I going with all this? Oh, this idea of actual logistics and preparing for climate change. This is preparing for climate change. It might be fictional, but it's way better than some dumb role-playing game. And, or it might as well consider it a role-playing game. You could be this guy or that guy, or there's a whole bunch of people out there. Our imaginary people, right? And I'm interested, I guess, with 3D printing for what amounts to the improvisation that's going to have to be happening all around this, because you have to realize shipping is going to have to continue existing. And I think that's probably where Elon Musk, the guy he may end up, his little goofball empire may end up being a real bitch with indentured servitude on Mars and his little vacuum, tunnels all over the place for shipping. He's probably those guys all have maps like this. This is our map. This is the schedule of different maps. Damn it. We're not going to use their maps. Us, them, whatever. Anyway, we do know that Exxon is pretty goofy. They basically know all kinds of stuff. I mean, when you have scientists, right, your scientists have to work for somebody. So I'm going to add a little kind of like this going this way. We know that around the Great Lake something's going to be happening. Maybe it's metropolitan, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But, and then this is the mess. This is the mud, which goes off into the distance. The mud! Oh, yeah, isn't that wonderful? So, it doesn't want to give me any ink. We'll put a broad only. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And we might as well put kind of a line around this. Okay, that's not bad. As you can see, these collections of coloring pages for the imaginary preparation for climate change could be kind of fun. Okay. This is just one area. This is the Great Lake, of course, right? Now, the Great Lake, like I said, I mean, how many people kind of know their globe? I mean, can actually draw a globe, you know, from memory? I can't say that I actually can. Every kid should be able to draw a globe from memory, and every kid should, by the third grade, know the Constitution of the United States, kind of like maybe a, you know, sort of a baby talk version, but like understand it, to a certain extent, or understand about it. This whole Supreme Court thing to me is just absolutely insane. I just think it's ridiculous. It's like how many bad ideas can you put together in one place? So much for jurisprudence. Okay. And I'm not going to overwork this today. I think you're kind of catching the idea. I'm going to have fun until I'm not having fun. The points I wanted to, disaster relief and refugees. That's the big deal. Imagine that water is necessary, that desalination is going to be a big deal, that the methane problem will be a big deal. And one of the reasons we need to be, we could call it preparing for climate change, is because if we're unprepared, we're just going to be overwhelmed. And this situation, for instance, at the border down below, right where we are, and I'm going to do this trick because this looks like water and it's kind of cool. Anyway, we're being trained. We got a great training situation down at the border down at this border. All these migrants came up like this to here. They're sitting right about here. And of course, the enlightened Republic of Texas sits right here. Many, many enlightened provinces grace the middle of North America. And they're all getting ready for what amounts to what we're going to be seeing more of, obviously. But anyway, without going on about it, the thing is that we have an ideal situation, and the United Nations could look at it like that, as for preparing for what's going to be happening all over the place. And if you really want to see what the powers that be are really preparing for, I guess look at how the oil industry's kind of okayed Putin and invaded Ukraine. And they're just kind of kicking back and watching that and saying, well, this is what'll happen. They really are. I mean, I don't know what your 20-year plan is. This is part of my 20-year speculation. I'm going to have a successful little business right about there, maybe, right? Exploiting refugees and mutants. There's a lot of money in refugees and mutants. So I'm going to do that effect wherever the water is. Okay. What else did I want to cover? Oh yes, just scheduling a difference to the nonsense that's being planned for us. There's nonsense being planned for us. And I would have to say that, I know where I don't finish my sentences. I'll just start sentences and then they kind of drift off into nowhere because I'll think of something else. But the main thing being is that who hires the scientists, right? The government and corporations. Those are the only two people that can really hire like top level scientists. I mean, unless you want to go out and have a scientist mow your lawn maybe, or like, watch the kids, get yourself a climate scientist. So you get, these specialists basically only work for the government or for corporations. And so now that 98% of those scientists all say climate change is real, and the government isn't preparing, and the corporations are turning a kind of a blind eye, because I guess the money must be in something else, right? Who knows? Anyway, but it's funny that the only people who could hire those those scientists are basically in full denial about what the scientists kind of tried to tell them, right? You know, well, this is what's going to happen. Yay, okay. And for fun, we can put shadows. These aren't the real shadows. This isn't how this really behaves. This is kind of a fanciful map. I could put a dragon right about here, maybe. Okay, the dragon, the Hudson Bay dragon. Okay. Later, we'll do that later. Okay, now, so our character, who is, I don't know, Biff. Unfortunately, I ripped Biff off from Calvin and Hobbes, so we can't use Biff. We have to come up with something better than Biff. Bucky, maybe Bucky. It could be Bucky. Bucky's coming in like this. Okay, here's Bucky. These lines this way. Oh, remember, these are how to draw videos, right? This is how to draw, well, I don't really have it. A comic panel. This is a comic panel. It's doing comic book stuff, right? Okay, did I leave anything out? Oh, well, the oceans are going to rise and the inland waters are going to act crazy, but especially this permafrost thing. And on that note, what I'm going to do is I will draw more mud up here. The mud. There we are. Mud, mud, mud. Run away, run away. Okay. And who knows how the mud going into the ocean is going to behave. You have to realize this is, I don't know how much of the shoreline way up north is permafrost. That's going to get really weird with the ocean. So we can just say we have, like, God, with methane mud going into the ocean. No, I don't want this to be a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. Let's pretend this is not a bad thing. But this is certainly different. The same thing might be happening with this, right? Methane mud. Okay. Anyway, so this is the 4th of July, 2044, right? 20 years. I'm going to be really old if I'm still around. Okay. So anyway, ta-da. I'm going to add this shadow line here just to make this, give that something distinct, right? Oh, and then it's the 4th of July, so they're having, oh, bang, big dang doo, they're having fireworks, okay. And, yay, fireworks. Okay, and what I was going to do with the, I was going to do something, oops, scuzzy walk, with my sumi brush ink and tempera paint, but I couldn't find my sumi brush, so we're not doing that today. God, I hope too much of that. I hope we got some of that in the video. Okay. Darn it. Okay, so this is tempera paint. It's going to dry. And what I'm going to do very quickly is add fireworks. So we have fireworks. That's not very good. Those fireworks are terrible. But this is a black and white drawing, and, well, it lacks for a few things. Oh. Anyway, those are our fireworks. Fireworks. Spitting dang. Now, the fireworks do that. The brush gets clean. Any other thing that was on my mind? I guess just that. This isn't happening. Okay, right now this isn't happening. So we don't have to fret about, you know, I guess that's the whole thing about schedule a difference. If we were to have fun networking and preparing for climate change, I know what I wanted to do. I'm going to turn this around really quick. I wanted to clean this up. If we wanted to network and prepare for climate change, we could do that easily enough. There are 5.2 billion mobile devices hooked into the internet. And I'm going to run out of whiteout. Anyway, I'll get someplace. I have a couple of these pens, so I'll be okay. But anyway, the thing is that we could have a lot of fun scheduling a difference. It's not like, or preparing or doing whatever we're doing. What are the plans if we don't make plans? The people who see this coming, something like this is on its way. So, how does that look? Poor little phone looks a little rough, but that's okay, because this is a rough. And anyway, I think it would be fun. And consider this part of Schedule a Difference and a little bit of 3dprintingland.com, because we are going to have quite the industries from here to there. There is no there. We're going to, this is the solar system now. We are basically, I guess we don't want to forsake the generations that are, younger than we are. I mean, that would be a sad thing, bad thing to do. It's kind of like what we're doing as we speak, forsaking a lot of people to more or less just be, I suppose, I don't know what. Anyway, we should prepare for a difference. That's it. And really, honestly, happy 4th of July. I wish there was some sunshine, but at least that's an interesting topic of conversation, and I hope some people find it. And that's it. So let's see where we are. We are at less than a half hour. That's wonderful. Less than a half hour. So I hope Pixar is paying attention, except they work for Disney. Oh, God. Oh, well, enough for now, and thank you.